Okay, so it seems as though after the first kind of encounter with Safari, Kandi and the gang want to see more because there's questions. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Kandi and the Gang. This is season 1, episode 8. Yeah, 8. We are actually moving right along. I really like the show. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Miss Safari, honey, and all of her. She interesting. She's very interesting. But the O.L.G, well, the family, we need to see more. But anyway, besides all that, we got the issue of Chandrika not being let into the party and then feeling some kind of way afterwards. But Chandrika wasn't really feeling some kind of way. It's June that feels some kind of way. Now, me personally, I'm just going to say this from off the top. I'm going to need June to go somewhere and sit down. I'm going to need you to go sit down, June. Go sit down. You doing way too much. Now, that's my feelings on the situation. Old Junie boy was doing a little too much. Go on over there and sit down. Anyway, let's go right here. First thing, hilarious. I don't know why. I don't know why they sitting up there. Child, why are we putting Mama Joyce and Aunt Bertha on the daggone dating site? If y'all don't sit down somewhere. And Aunt Bertha was like, I don't need Nan. They talk her into it. They take their little pictures, put they just need something to do. Go make some more dessert recipes. Don't y'all be out here playing on these websites. Go sit down, y'all. Oh, I love them old ladies. Child, hilarious. I'm telling you, Aunt Bertha gets me through every Sunday. I don't need Nan. Anyway, moving on. So we got June, Dominique, and Chandrika go out, okay, for a little bite. And June literally, yeah, I'm just going to cut to the chase. June literally tried to check Dominique. And Chandrika sitting there like a bump on the log. That whole scene wasn't cute. Dominique didn't appreciate it. His words was like he was talking to some little kid. This can't be happening. This can't happen again. I'm not playing. First of all, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? What kids came through the door? Because I ain't seen no kids come in. I saw Dominique, who's very much grown. And if you really wanted to have this conversation with her, you wanted to check her per se. And as we went further on, we found out you wanted to check the whole friends group. Why ain't Brandon at the meeting? June, you gonna check Dom? Check Brandon too. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. I didn't like how it looked, and neither did Dom, honey. And Dom was like, baby, she got him right together. He's like, child, you ain't talking to me. And she got up and she left. She left. She said her little piece. And said, Chandrika, better get your man, honey. And she went on out of there. I didn't like that. I didn't like what it looked like. I didn't care for that. And I understand what he's saying. But again, you feel some kind of way. Not Chandrika. Chandrika even said in her confessional, he don't play about me. See, was it wrong? that you ended up standing out there? Yes. But you was the fool that stood out there for 30 minutes. See, let's get down to the real situation. You stood outside for 30 minutes instead of just rolling straight on up in there with her because you didn't feel welcome, because you knew you weren't welcome. In your heart of hearts, you knew you weren't welcome, so there's no issue. And you stood there that long because you chose to stand there that long. And the truth of the matter is, that really ain't Dominique's issue. That's your issue. You screwed Patrick. Dominique didn't screw Patrick. Brandon didn't screw Patrick. Brian didn't screw Patrick. Torin didn't screw Patrick. Rashard didn't screw Patrick. None of the other people are even feeling no kind of way about you screwing Patrick because you screwed Patrick. Don't nobody feel no kind of way about the screwing of you and Patrick, but you and June. So all this trying to want to check other people, it was a situation that happened in the dark with you and Patrick, not everybody else. So you stood out there all that time because you wanted to stand out there all that time. Because personally, I don't think you should have been standing there at all. You said you weren't coming in the beginning, and that's what you should have done. Because you wasn't comfortable your damn self. Because when Safari's around, you feel a type of way too. Because not only did Patrick screw you, he screwed the mess out of you. I'm just going to go on out there and put that out there. I think he screwed the mess out of you. I think he dicked you down. Because you feel some kind of way. Every time we would see him talk about her, you feel some kind of way. When we see her show up, you feel some kind of way. That's between you and Patrick too. Patrick too. Chandrika was screwing the mess out of you up in that freezer too. Because every time June's around, you be feeling some kind of way. So I suggest the two of y'all go on and get done with each other. And don't mess around and lose friends in the midst of this, because this is bullshit. It's bullshit. There was some nasty little games going on up in that freezer or wherever on a few nights when it got dark down to the restaurant, honey. June wasn't there, so June can't be checking nobody. Go sit down, June. Anyway, and not Dom. Leave Dom alone. But Dom ain't got no problem, honey. She ain't running to get Brandon. She told his ass what she thought went on. Anyway, moving on. So then we got June pulls up on Patrick and Todd. See, you doing too. Now you all over here at his job. And his job just happens to be his family's restaurant. June, do you know people have left in body bags for less? You pulling up on somebody about some old bullshit? I was like, y'all doing too much down there to the Atlanta, honey. Get on out of here. Anyway, he get in there. You struggling to pull up this $10. He's like, I could cash app you. Or and Patrick petty. Patrick's petty because Patrick be feeling some kind of way about June. Patrick, well, here, I'll give you this 90. Like, I'm going to need that other $1, pal. I said, this is petty, child. But he did you just right because you ain't had no business there. He come in there. He brings this car that he done bought for Chandrika. He done bought her a Benz. But in the midst of bringing her to Benz, you want to try to kind of check somebody. You want to talk to Patrick and try to check. You can't check me at my family's place. You can't check me at my house. Is you crazy? Get the hell on up out of here. And you ain't really say much. You were more forceful with your commentary to Dominique than you were to Patrick and Todd. But because Todd diffused it like, that's some bullshit. Like, that's some bullshit. And you feeling some kind of way, whatever. Y'all need to get it together. Because y'all going to be, she work here, he work here. Y'all going to be around each other. Y'all need to figure it out. So it ain't really go nowhere. Anyway, moving on. It'd been interesting to see how that would have went had Todd not been there. Where would that conversation have actually gone had Todd not been a part of that conversation? I guess we'll never know. Anyway, let's move on. Then we had this funeral, child. We had this funeral. For Brian's wig, honey. The wig's name is Leslie. Leslie Wig, honey. This is ridiculous. 2-year-old wig. Brian, if you don't just throw that piece of mess in the garbage and knock it off. He was clowning. And it was Shardo, Brian, and Torrin. And Chandrika was there. Chandrika was there as well. They did the funeral, threw that all away, had a little chit chat with Chandrika. She basically kind of told them about her discontent with the way things went, and then she ended up getting up and leaving and feeling some kind of way. I said, okay. And they just kind of was looking like, oh. And she said about June. They was like, oh, he's pressed. Oh, okay. Nobody cared. Like, nobody cared. Moving on. So here's this triple date. Todd and Kandi put together this here triple date. So it's Kandi and Todd, Chandrika and June, and Safari and Patrick. And they all sit down and try to iron out what the situation is. So we got Todd and Kandi are basically the adults of the situation. And, you know, the mediators. And it really didn't get ugly. It didn't go any kind of way at all. Safari has some stuff to say in her confession. I don't really need no double date. I ain't need no play date. She's coming across very nasty. Very nasty. But she's sitting there with her same scowl on her face like she usually do. And my thing was, when you did that confessional, so why'd you come? If you're adamant that you didn't need no play date and you thought it was ridiculous, as I feel, Safari, I'm with you. I think it's ridiculous too. I think it's ridiculous too. But being as though you think it's so ridiculous, why'd you even go, sis? Stand in your shit. Anyway, moving on. They got to talk about how they met and stuff. So here it was. Chandrika and June met on Tinder, and after a month and a half, he asked her to marry him. Okay. Safari, whose real name is actually Miriam, they went through that. I was like, is your real name Safari? Like, no. So I was like, so you just renamed yourself? She's like, yeah. They go on, said for like 2 years, she was up in his DMs. She slid in his DMs. And then she goes on and she says, you know, I thought he was just a trick. I thought he was a trick. I wasn't serious about him. Thought he was a trick, you know. Child, upon hearing that, I was like, did she just say that? And Patrick's sitting there looking goofy. He's sitting there looking goofy. And how can you be sitting there looking goofy where there's like a person who literally is... It just looks stupid. Like this whole time you've been, oh, I just love her. And oh, she's this, she's my world. And she got you literally wrapped up on her finger. And she literally blurts out in a room full of people. And especially with your ex sitting there and her dude. And says, oh, he was a trick. He was a ladies' man and all that. No, he was just a trick. He was something to screw. Basically, child. Now then, the confessionals got interested. Todd was like, "What kind of girl are you? Who raised you?" You know. And I just was sitting there. I was like, "Oh gosh." Patrick was like, "Oh." He was embarrassed. He got that much sense. He was embarrassed because usually it was the shoe be on the other foot. So it's probably like it's sort of seemed like maybe Patrick, she's your karma. You know what I mean? So, but he was looking real stupid at that table. And Chandrika was tickled. And June, too. Todd and Kandi, not so much. I said, oh, I knew once Safari would be around them, around Kandi. It was Kandi. I was worried about Kandi or the O.L.G. She was going to put an X on her back, honey, and with that behavior. You know, all that old nasty disposition and all that. I was like, that ain't gonna ride real well with them. Anyway, let's move on. And there was this meeting, real quickly, with Brandon and Don Juan and Philip was like, listen, let's really cut to the chase. Who's leaving? Which one of y'all is leaving? Because they backed them up in the corners like, are y'all dating? You know? And Don was like, Brandon ain't saying nothing. He like, okay, which one of y'all leaving? Because one of y'all's leaving this building. I said, oh, okay. We didn't get no answer, but that was it. They put it on right. You know, Don Juan will just say the stuff. He put it right on out there. Which one of you are leaving this building, honey? So we'll see. Moving on. Patrick and Todd. Patrick sits down with Todd at the barbershop and they're talking. This child is now, you went from being surprised that she thought you was a trick to now you're thinking of marrying her. Todd literally said in the confessional, he's ready to shut the whole thing down. Todd is not seeing it for Safari at all. He's ready to shut it down. Kandi met up with Safari. Safari started that conversation with that old dismissive energy. Kandi put it out there like, you know, when you said that he was a trick, I wasn't really feeling that, sis. That's like my son. That's like my son. You thought he was a trick. Like, what you in this for? You know? And she pulled out some emotion with Kandi and won Kandi over. Talking about how much she loved her parents and that's how she thinks of him. You know, he cares for her, and it leaves her with the feeling that she feels from how her parents care for her. I said, oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Again, a little thing where Kandi and Todd don't see eye to eye, but okay, no problem. Anyway, let's move on. After that, we see there's this friends gathering over at Brian. You know, they film a lot over at Brian's house. But yeah, they're over at Brian's. Child, Shardo is all the friends, all of them. So you got Shardo, Dom, Chandrika, Torin, and Brian. And they're all there. And everything's like cool. But then Shardo ends up being the mouthpiece. Because everybody else actually agreed with what Shardo was saying, but Shardo ended up being the mouthpiece and basically saying he felt like Dominique owed Chandrika an apology because it was kind of jive that they came together and then she didn't even come back outside to see about, you know, what was going on. And Chandrika's thing was like, everybody should have came back outside. And they're like, no, not at all. I don't agree either. I don't think everybody should have went back outside. This is stupid. But anyway, with Shardo and Dom was like, I don't even know you. You are a friend of Brian's. I don't know you. I don't care nothing about you. I won't be discussing or dealing with you anymore from today going forward. And then told Brian, get your little pet, honey. I was like, oh. So she literally shut Shardo right on down. And he didn't like engage in a full out argument. He got up and he left, which was cool. But yeah, I mean, they said your friend group set you up to be the mouthpiece because they know Dom. They knew Dom was going to tear your ass up, and she did just that. Anyway, y'all shady. Y'all shady. Y'all set Shardo up, buddy. Anyway, Dom got him right together, baby. And then she was mad at all of them, buddy. She got up and she left. I said, oh, that went really bad. And Brian was like, well, I mean, I'm not the type of friend that did. Child, she checked them all. She got Shardo first. Then she checked Brian about Shardo because he's his friend. And then she really she shook the party, honey, and left. Torin's like, well, I thought this was supposed to be a good time, honey. Psh, she gave them the hell with all y'all. Psh, I'm out of here, honey. She rolled. They set Shardo up. Anyway, moving on. So Patrick, last thing, Patrick goes to see the family. His mom, the O.L.G, except for Aunt Nora. Aunt Nora wasn't there. And Kandi. So it was like all his closest. His grandma, his mom, Kandi, Mama Joyce. Because you know Mama Joyce is like a second grandma to him. They were all there. And baby, Aunt Bertha blew up the spot. Honey, while he was like, well, I wanted to pull y'all together, my Fab Four. I wanted to talk to y'all. She gonna say, where's the ring? Where's the ring? You want to marry? Is that it? Where's the ring? I said, oh, Aunt Bertha. Aunt Bertha like, cut the bullshit. You know? Child, Kandi's like, she thinks that 27 is a little too soon. She don't think he's ready to marry, but she gonna go ahead on and support him. And Aunt Bertha was like, ain't no thing, you know. We'll accept her in as a family. If she don't act right, we'll throw her out as a family. I said, and that's that on that. And with that, that's the ending of season 1, episode 8 of Kandi and the Gang. We'll accept her in as a family, but if she don't act right, we'll fill her out as a family. I told y'all that at the beginning, didn't I? Lord have mercy. Love and birthday. Anyway, I will talk to y'all at the next episode. Later, y'all.